Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you're walking down the street and there's a couple in front of you walking towards you, and you maybe are by yourself or you're with a group of friends or whatever, and as you're passing by this couple, the guy's probably looking straight ahead, but the woman that he's with is looking at you and actually might be checking you out. And the guy is totally oblivious to this, doesn't notice this, and he seems like a pretty good guy. Or in the reverse, maybe you've been in that guy's shoes, and this happened to me, where you're with a woman and you think that she's loyal to you, but meanwhile she's been forming all these relationships behind your back with people that you thought you could trust. Maybe you were on a basketball team or a baseball team or a football team, and she was forming relationships with your teammates, with people around you, maybe your neighbor, and you're completely like thrown a curveball because you thought you could trust this person and the people that she was around, because those are supposed to be your homeboys or people that understand you have some seriousness to your relationship. So hey, don't do that. Like, there's a billion other girls in the world. Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you guys 3 powerful stories that absolutely changed my perspective on dating and what I learned from them. And hopefully by the end of this video, I'm going to share with you guys 3 tips that you can take away from the lessons I learned when it came to understanding female nature, especially with the modern day woman that tends to not really care about how her partner or her husband might feel, or the boyfriend she's with, and is just seeking attention from outside that relationship because she's not getting it in the relationship, and she might be a narcissist. We'll get into all that later. Anyways, that's enough of me talking. Let's dive into story number 1. Now, there's a beautiful 2-story, it might be a 3-story nightclub in San Diego. It's right near the border, actually. It's called Omnia, and it's in downtown area. It's beautiful. It's a big, nice club. There's a line usually outside. But anyway, I'm down there for one of my friend's birthday. And while my guy friends and I are just vibing on the dance floor, I notice in front of us, there's like a couple couples dancing, here or there. And there's this one Mexican chick with her boyfriend. And it's crazy, all right? So just pay attention to what I'm going to tell you. So we're all talking in a group. I'm kind of standing in the middle. And I'm also really tall, so I can see over the top of a lot of things. And it just, you kind of stand out sometimes and people can see you. So what I noticed was, while this girl's dancing with her boyfriend, every time her boyfriend's back was turned to me and she was facing me, because they were sort of doing like, it's not like a slow dance, but sort of like that, but it was a little more up tempo. But they were kind of like vibing like this, like I'm the boyfriend looking this way, she's right here, her face is pointed that way looking at the group, and I'm standing behind there. She's like giving me the most I want to do nasty things to you type of look, staring me down like a piece of meat every time her boyfriend's back was turned, and they do like a little twirl and her boyfriend's back was turned. She was just staring me down. She even licked her lips a few times. No cap. This actually happened, and it was insane because this is one of the first times, actually it might have been the first time something like this ever happened to me. So that was insane. Nothing happened with that. I'm not the one to go and mess around with relationships. I just noticed that and observed it, and I thought it was interesting, and I wanted to share that with you guys. And I remember when it happened for the first time, I was just like, oh my God, that's crazy that this is happening right in front of me like this, with a guy that I thought that she was so passionate about because of the way they were dancing and how he was holding her and like whispering in her ear. And while he's whispering, this is another thing, while he's whispering in her ear, she's looking at me as if I'm the one whispering in her ear, and she's biting her lip still. So it was crazy. It exposed me to a lot of dark truths about modern women when I was like 21. That was like the first real RP truth that I noticed. Okay, so the next story that happened, this didn't even happen that long ago, maybe a month and a half ago. And it's because I was moving apartments right across town that I ended up going to the Home Depot for about 2 hours, just looking to build things. And I had to tear some things apart from IKEA that I've previously had. I had to build some things up and add some additions to my new apartment and my setup here. So to make a long story short, I'm walking through Home Depot, and across the way is this couple walking. It wasn't that busy that day. and I see them walking towards me and I'm walking towards them. So this is us walking, and actually the guy was in front, so he was a little bit ahead of the woman that was walking in this couple. And while he passes me, he's looking straight ahead. I notice as I'm walking past her, she's looking up at me, biting her lips, doing the exact same thing the girl at the club was doing when her boyfriend's back was turned. But this time, it was when this guy that she's walking with is not paying attention, is walking in front of her. And once again, my eyes were open to the truth about how most women these days behave when their husband or their boyfriend's back is turned to them, or they're in some sort of dazed state where they're not really paying attention to how the woman they're with is acting and interacting with other men around them. So although I'm used to this, that was a pretty insane thing that happened, and it just happened recently. And I'm telling you guys, if this happens to you, the look that you get sometimes from these women when they know that they're not going to get caught, it's crazy. And like you feel like this weird feeling. My voice just went out. You feel this weird feeling inside you, but obviously I'm not going to cheat or do anything like that with them. I'm not going to disrespect their relationship. But I did observe that, and it was very eye-opening to me, and it made me like freak out for that guy because I've been in that situation. Which leads us to our third story, which is I just talked about two guys and that happening to them. So I'm not going to include two guys and not include myself as one of those stories, being the guy on the opposite side of that. And this happened to me my freshman year of junior college, and I was up north, and my girlfriend actually on the weekends, she would come up and drive up and come see me, and she would sometimes spend the weekend. And although she was driving all the way up there to visit me on the weekend, there were 5 other guys from the basketball team that were older than me living in the house. And I'm just this skinny, nerdy freshman that's a super simp at the time, that's bringing my girlfriend up here, and none of these guys had girlfriends. They were all pretty much bachelors. I think maybe one had a girl he was talking to. The rest had girls going in and out like it was a fast food drive-thru in California. It was crazy. Talk about a revolving door. That's what it was. And that opened my eyes to a lot of things right there. And that was at a junior college level. That's not even at a university. Do you understand what goes on at the NBA, the highest levels? Guys, let's not get distracted. Let's not get distracted. So to make a long story short, one night she goes in the shower, and while she's showering, she usually leaves her phone on the counter in the bathroom. So I go in the bathroom, act like I'm brushing my teeth or whatever, but I'm actually going through her phone, because what was another red flag was when she would spend the night, she would sleep with her phone on her side of the bed. Okay, so that was another thing. And I had her password, but like she would sleep with her phone on her side of the bed. So like I literally would have to reach across, and she would like wake up if I did that. So she kept her phone with her at all times, which I thought, and I still think is extremely suspicious. Anyways, so I go on her phone and I see right then and there's like 4 Snapchats sitting there from one of my teammates on her iPhone. And you can bet what I did. I asked her about it. She told me some BS story. I talked to my teammate about it. I was pretty pissed at him. We were good friends. He told me some BS story, and my simp ass believed it. And I took her back only to have her cheat on me like a couple months later at her apartment with some guy that she was going to school with. So it ended up being an entire waste of time, and I totally took back someone that took me for granted. So I want you guys to learn that lesson in there. So the first lesson I learned was that most, if not all, modern day women should not be taken serious for dating or long-term relationships, especially marriage, at all when they're young. Because you have to think about it this way. She's in her peak physical appearance, as usually, unless she's like huge and overweight or whatever, but usually she's at her peak physical prime, which then means she's an attention magnet for any man with eyes. Like, she literally puts herself in positions to be seen, and she wants to be seen. It's literally evolutionarily wired in women to do this in their prime, because those are the best years for their reproductive cycle and where they can obtain or mate with the alpha. And although she might be dating you at the moment, she's just dating you because you're the best serious option at that time. That doesn't mean that she's not looking around to have hookups and fun with other guys and just not date them. No, you'll be the serious relationship while she does her own thing on the side and she takes advantage of the prime years of her life while you're always the fallback guy and home base for her. The second lesson I learned was that in every story that I talked about, including my own, because I'm not going to pull myself out of this, I was a super beta male. I literally caught my ex-girlfriend cheating on me on Snapchat with one of my teammates, yet I listened to her, I believed her story, and I took her back. I even apologized, I'm pretty sure, and I was like literally like, hey, I'm sorry, like I didn't know that, like I was just thinking the worst. I know you guys are probably cool because you're always around here and you're just mixing in with the guys. Super beta thing to say. Anyways, I allowed it to slide only to have her later on in the relationship, because I didn't respect myself, do the same thing. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because those guys in the stories that I just talked about, besides myself, were also beta. They walked around with a soft pitched voice. I noticed who was leading the relationship, who seemed more dominant, and it was always their girlfriend or their significant other. I noticed that they walked kind of with their shoulders slumped down. They kind of weren't necessarily sure of themselves. And because of the way they carried themselves, the woman that they were with was not attracted to them sexually in that way. And she was actually looking to monkey branch actively. And she was willing to do so in front of him, which honestly leads me to believe that she was probably, or is right now, cheating on that guy with someone. And the third lesson I learned in every story was that each woman wore tight-fitting, skin-tight, or kind of revealing clothing. It's the type of girl that will wear like a sports bra and yoga pants out and about while shopping, even with you. She's gotten to the point where she's just ready to show it off. She doesn't care. She's not getting the attention from you at home or the validation, or she just is a narcissist and needs men's eyes on her at all times. And then she's going to complain to you about when it's a creepy guy or some guy she finds unattractive, and complain about that guy at work or the creepy boss when she's the one wearing tight-fitting clothes. And I know that's hitting home with someone that's watching this video, because we as guys can all relate to hearing those stories from women. So those are the 3 lessons and 3 stories I wanted to share with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you did, drop a like on the video. Keep your eyes open and be aware of women like this. Not all women are like this, but a lot of them are, especially modern day ones. So keep your eyes peeled and stay safe, my brothers. Love you.